Everybody hit the like button. 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 If you got something to say, drop it in the comments. Don't be acting afraid. What? Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. If you got something to say, drop it in the comments. Don't be acting afraid. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know you at. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know you at. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know you at. Drop your city. What? Drop your city in the chat. What? Drop your city. What? Drop your city in the chat. Drop your city in the chat.
All right, everybody, come on in. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. Sorry for the technical difficulties at first, but I have some breaking news. And at first, I was just like, all right, this may not be anything, but yes, this is breaking news. One of the reasons why this Officer Tatum dude spent so much time and so much effort going down to Mississippi to talk to the boys that are connected to this whole situation with a missing young man named Nolan Wells, is because after my research, and this is straight research, this is not speculation, the people connected to this Nolan Wells case adjacently are actually donors to Turning Point USA. And this right here is crazy. And there's another side of this also, where Horn Island, which is the island that the young boy Nolan Wells ended up being missing at, he himself dying is causing problems with the secrets of the island itself. So Turning Point USA is directly or adjacently, because I don't want to get sued, to this Nolan Wells case. So everybody drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. And I'm going to let this young lady just do her thing. She's going to talk fast, but we're going to break this down. So this is all in love for this woman here. And first of all, let me show you. Let me just play the video and I'll tell you everything about involving this situation.
Evidence of a fourth vote. Not only have I found a lie in there, discovered a deep political connection, not only to a former governor of Mississippi, but to Turning Point USA.
She said it right there. She said it right there. This whole situation is connected to Turning Point USA. If anybody wondered why Officer Tatum is spending so much energy trying to discredit the mother of this young boy that died, it's because of Turning Point USA and the donors of Turning Point USA, possibly because I don't want no problems. I'm just going to say it like this. There's a reason that we don't know of, because I don't want to get sued, because they're running around spending a lot of money trying to get people to shut up about this situation. And it sounds so weird. And you're like, why are they spending so much energy trying to quiet people? But in some type of adjacent fashion, Turning Point USA and the Turning Point USA donors may have sent Officer Tatum down here in order to hide some type of secret. All right, so listen.
Found more evidence of a fourth vote. Not only have I found a lie in their timeline, but I have also discovered a deep political connection, not only to a former governor of Mississippi, but to Turning Point USA.
Former governor of Mississippi.
And the boat was taken to Cardinal Lane, which was Wyatt's residence. Now, because I am an absolute genius.
And Wyatt is one of the young boys that were around Nolan Wells when he died on the boat. It was like maybe 400 people on Horn Island, and they're on Horn Island, and there's a lot of speculation that everybody or a lot of people had drugs. There were drug use. People were selling drugs. And this seems like, according to what I'm learning, what happens on Horn Island on a normal basis. And I'm not saying that Horn Island is like EpiPen Island, Jeffrey Island. I'm not saying that, but this is kind of showing me that a lot of these islands are environments for certain things to go down, and nobody will ever know what happens on Horn Island or this island or that island. It is not just Epstein Island. And I'm not saying Horn Island is Epstein Island, but there's some similarities.
Yes, I was able to find it. This was where they left and where they came back that day, and then came back several times. Now, first off, why aren't we seeing footage of them returning that day? We know that Nolan was with them when they left. So why do they have the security cams from that morning, but not that night? Whose grandparents live there? Jack Spatalo. Who's
Jack Spatalo. Keep these names in the back of your mind. So October 3 of 74 said Nolan's dad is a Freemason and his mother is an Eastern Star. That's a thought we need to pay attention to. So thank you for saying that. And if you can research that October 3 of 74, I would appreciate it. And just send me a DM on what you find out about that, because that's new information that I need to get a little bit more understanding of or more information on. But if you have something, send it to me while we're live and I could just bring it up.
family owns a pharmacy. It goes back deeper than that because George Patala Sr., which is Jax's great-grandfather who is deceased, as it turns out, his great-grandfather was appointed and served on the staff of Mississippi Governor Cliff Finch. As you can see, I've confirmed Jax's relation to him. And as it turns out, Cliff Finch, well, he was in the Mississippi House of Representatives.
Mississippi House of Representatives, all of these things correlate with each other. Listen to what he was doing in the Mississippi House of Representatives
From 1960 to 1964 and supported racial segregation. And
he supported racial segregation. So for all of the people that are saying that we as black people are trying to make this whole situation with Nolan Wells racial, I'm showing you the racial aspects to this whole situation even before we even really get started, because we haven't even gotten to the good part yet. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button and drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at if you have not already.
back the racist governor, to preserve segregation in the state. The federal grand jury conducted a 3-year-long investigation into his administration and several state agencies, and they were all accused of corruption and mismanagement. But Finch was never found guilty himself, but some of his aides and appointees were indicted.
So they were indicted. They were accused. Well, not accused, but they were indicted.
Sort of political connections seem to trickle down through the generations, so now we know why the governor got involved. And I started looking into the lawyer that's handling the defamation case from...
Now this right here, Russ Latino, this dude right here is literally the missing piece to this whole situation. If it wasn't for this dude coming in here trying to sue people, we would have never understood or knew the correlations between Turning Point USA and what she's about to say next. This dude right here is the missing piece.
The Bart family. So from 2015 to 2018, he was state director of Americans for Prosperity. Then in 2018 to 2020.
Now, I need to give you an understanding of who the Bart family is. So there are a number of factors to this situation, and I don't want anybody to be confused. Okay. So a young boy that's hanging around a whole bunch of white boys in Mississippi, they went to Horn Island to hang out on the 4th of July. The young boy, Nolan Wells, died mysteriously, and everybody is speculating. I'm not saying anybody murdered him, but everybody is speculating that he was murdered and he didn't just fall off the boat mistakenly and just die. And next thing you know, it came out from Officer Tatum himself, the stupid idiot. He's snitching on himself Officer Tatum came out and said there was drug use and Nolan Wells was doing cocaine, but he's leaving out the other people that were on the boat that were also allegedly doing cocaine. And the reason why he didn't want to say that they were doing it is because, one, their parents are high-ranking people. And Bart is one of the people that was on Horn Island. And Bart in particular is older than everybody. And everybody's wondering why. Uh-oh. Wait, hold on, y'all. Uh-oh. Okay. And Bart in particular is older than everybody else. And I'm like, why is Bart, as a 21-year-old, why is he out there? And then it gets worse. Come to find out, there's multiple married adults that are going out on Horn Island in order, Fart. We're gonna call him Fart and not Bart. There's multiple adults that were out there on Horn Island, which means there are minors out there drinking and doing drugs, and that is a fact that the minors were out there, excuse me, drinking and doing alleged drugs. But there were adults out there that were, I'm not going to say witnessing, but they were out there on the island, which means there's a possibility that adults were either giving minors drugs and alcohol, or they were okay with minors doing drugs and alcohol around them. And Bart was one of the adults. And then the other people on here, including Nolan Wells, were like 17, 18, 19.
Then,
so I want to back up to let you know about this.
From the Bart family. So from 2015 to 2018, he was state director of Americans for Prosperity. Then in 2018 to 2020, he was vice president of Stand Together while being vice president of Americans for Prosperity.
So, do you guys know what this company is, Americans for Prosperity? I want to see if anybody knows about this before I keep going. Does anybody know the significance about Americans for Prosperity? I'm just going to give y'all like 3 seconds because I want to see if y'all are up on your shit. Anybody? Okay, let's keep going.
Stand Together is a Charles Koch nonprofit. And
do y'all know who Charles Koch is? Charles Koch is Koch. The judges connect. All these people are connected. Does anybody know who the Koch brothers are? and they were. What's crazy is they were on the boat doing coke, and the Koch brothers are connected to this, which is crazy. All right, so listen to what she says about the Koch brothers. Shout out to the Koch brothers. That's a crazy last name.
Americans for Prosperity. Stand Together is a Charles Koch nonprofit, and Americans for Prosperity is a libertarian conservative political advocacy group affiliated with Charles Koch and David Koch.
And they are the major donors of Turning Point USA. They are major donors of Turning Point USA.
If you don't know who the Koch brothers are, they're fucking evil. Guess who's one of the major funders for Turning Point USA? Major donors for the Koch brothers also are primary financial pillars for Turning Point USA.
Yo. Oh. I love this woman. I want to stop right here because I want to give this woman her I want to give this woman her flowers because you guys just do not understand how diligent this woman is. She has ADD and I love her ADD. So I need everybody right now to take a second and follow this lovely woman. Her name is J. Megan. I want to have her on my show, but J. Megan has so many receipts, and I love this woman. Gives you every single detail of every piece of everything. Everybody right now, put your hands together and like drop applause emojis in the chat for this woman, Jay Morgan. I'm gonna have her on the show, but this woman just blew this whole case up. And I want to share the still images for this also. So everybody, are y'all drop clapping emojis in the chat for Jay Morgan, and make sure to follow her on Instagram right now and TikTok. So these are the still images. So I want y'all to pay attention to, because this is so freaking important. And I'm going to break this down even further. Everybody, put your hands together for this woman right here. So the lawyer that is suing people for defamation is, or was, the vice president of Stand Together, and also was the vice president for Americans for Prosperity. This shit is so important, y'all. This is so important. So the core connection between the Koch brothers, Koch, Charles Koch and the late David Koch, he passed away, and Turning Point USA is rooted in financial funding and ideological alignment. And that is the thing that we have to pay attention to right there, because that is the why. Why are they major funders of Turning Point USA? It's the ideological alignment through their relationship. Later, what's that? I need my glasses. Later, fractured over political strategy. Let's see. Is this important? Okay, so the donor network backing right here. Let me put my glasses on. Sorry, y'all. I wear glasses and I hate wearing my glasses. Okay, so donor network backing, investigative tracking of federal tax records reveals that major donors within the Koch network have provided millions of dollars around fiscal year of 2024. Okay. I just want y'all to understand the importance of this part right here. Charitable foundations. Is that important? Who fund? No, I'll just keep going. All right, right here. Americans for Prosperity, funded in 2004. I cannot read this. I need glasses. Well, I'm looking at my TV screen and I can't see this. This is too fuzzy for me. So I'm going to keep going. But if y'all can see this, y'all can see this. I have eye problems. I can't read everything. Okay. Wait, what? What is this? Oh, that's true. That's I don't know what the hell that is. All right. So I can't even because I'm nearsighted and farsighted, and the actual TV that I'm watching, that I'm seeing everything on, is actually too far for my glasses to actually work. So I'm nearsighted and farsighted, but my glasses mainly help me with nearsightedness. All right, so sorry. All right, so let's get back to it. Because this right here just broke this is going to break the internet. This is going to literally break the internet.
Also, our primary financial pillars, Turning Point USA, specifically their campus operations. And guess who used to serve as the director of urban engagement?
Here we go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Freaking Officer piece of crap Tatum. I know y'all seen a great quench thirst. I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm just screenshotting wrong stuff. So Officer Tatum is directly connected to this whole situation, and that's why this son of a bitch is down there interviewing them boys, trying to make it look like they're angels.
For Chief Turning Point USA, specifically their campus operations. And guess who used to serve as the director of urban engagement?
There are people in the black community who are going to say, I can't believe you had that Brandon Tatum on. He's not a real black guy. He attacks the black cause. It doesn't matter that he's black. He's worse than a white racist. He's worse than a white racist. He's worse than a white racist.
Okay, so now let's speak on Tatum and his actual direct connection to this whole situation, because for those who don't know, he took his fat ass down there and started interviewing the boys, and now he's running around literally arguing with everybody, trying to make it look like those young men are innocent before any information comes out, because right now they are innocent until they're proven guilty. But why is fat ass Tatum down there trying to make it look like that? Let's just break this down. Okay. Officer Tatum's actual connection to this case. Tatum's own Substack published a piece titled "The Internet Accused Him. Now He's Fighting Back," covering Bart Edmondson Jr., his side of the story, laying out Latinos, and Latino is the last name of the lawyer. His name is Russ Latino. So laying out Latino's case, cease and desist campaign, and Edmonston's, with a T, denial of involvement. And I'm not saying Fart has anything to do with anybody dying, because I don't want them trying to come over here and sue me. I'm just speaking on, the main thing I'm speaking on is how and why is Officer Tatum and Turning Point USA connected to this whole situation? All right. So Russ Latino's faculty. Latino is the CEO of Magnolia Tribune, a right-leaning Mississippi outlet, news outlet, and hosts the Sit Down with Russ Latino. So this lawyer, Russ Latino, has his own podcast, apparently. He previously discussed the Wells case on his show. He has a show with Mississippi's Public Safety Commissioner, and wrote an opinion piece for the Magnolia Tribune. Okay. He represents Bart Edmondson Jr., who was on Horn Island the day Wells died, and has denied any role. And I'm denying any role with Fart also. I don't think Fart had anything to do with it, because I think Fart is the older kid that was trying to, well, you know what? I can't say that. So it's open to speculation. So he and the rest of these boys are 1000% innocent until proven guilty. But Fart may have something to do with covering something up if something happened. You know, something unscrupulous happened. And if something unscrupulous didn't happen, he was just helping the kids. But his help does give me a thought on why was he asked to come out there in the first place, because it gets way worse. All right. So this cease and desist being sent out to virtually every content creator makes me think, what are they trying to hide? All right. So to go farther with all of this, let's talk about the Koch network now. All right. So we talked about the lawyer, but now let's talk about the Koch network. The Koch brothers, the Koch network, their connection to Turning Point USA. And that is the reason why we all are here. Turning Point USA is adjacently or directly connected to this Nolan Wells situation. I would like to call it a murder cover up, but we don't know if he was murdered. And if he wasn't murdered, it wasn't a cover up. So I don't want to just say anything that would get me sued, but it could be a murder cover up, or it could not be. All right. I just don't want to get sued. All right. The Koch network, money, and Turning Point USA. Structure, an important distinction. Turning Point USA was founded by Bill Montgomery and Charlie Kirk in 2012, and it was an independent nonprofit. But the biggest problem with Turning Point USA that we have all looked at and talked about is how there's evangelistical stand a part about Turning Point USA, and there is a political side of this. Okay. And they try to make sure they keep those two businesses separate. So the Turning Point faith side and the political side are important pieces to point out in this situation. The Koch network focused on the political side of this, not the evangelistical side of this. However you want to say that. I can't even say it right. Funding scale. The Center of Media and Democracy tracked more than $11.1 million in donations to TPUSA in 2024, or between 2024 and 2018. I'm sorry, between 2014 and 2018. So these people are in bed with Turning Point USA around $11 million. $11 million. And we all know, if you're going to fund or invest $11 million into a company, you're still connected to it, because you might want your money back, or you might want them to do something in representation of you. You don't just give somebody some freaking money that is in the millions and then just walk away. So they're still connected to this whole situation. So Center of Media and Democracy tracked more than $11 million in donations from Turning Point USA from 2014 through 2018, roughly 43% of the organization's revenue in that period. I'll say it again, roughly 43% of that organization's revenue, Turning Point USA's revenue, came from or surrounding the Koch brothers. All right. So the Koch brothers are connected to this, and there's a possibility that the Koch brothers hit up Turning Point USA and said, hey, we have some problems down here with our boys in Mississippi. Because, like I said, this Horn Island situation is possibly a part of this also, because not on some Epstein Island stuff, but somewhat some Epstein Island stuff. They go out to this island to celebrate, to do whatever they want to do, because it's away from cameras and they can do all kinds of debauchery on this desolate island, right? And this is now a tradition for grown people and young people to go out there and do all kinds of shit because it's their island. A lot of things go on different islands. So this is a way lower, in island situation. So I'm not saying that they are eating babies on the island. I'm not saying that, but there is something that is being hidden. I would say cover up sounds like I can get sued, but something is hidden on Horn Island, or some type of operation may have something to do with Horn Island. All right. And when the boy died, or when the boy was murdered, calls were made. Next thing you know, Turning Point USA hit up their boy, which is this some bitch right here, Officer Tatum, and he goes down there to try to, make things better in his own way as a black man. All right, because a black boy died. All right, let's keep going. And drop a 1 in the chat. Y'all can still hear me. Somebody said something about there's an issue with the live stream. So I just want to make sure everybody put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me and see me. I just want to make sure, because it's raining out here. I just want to make sure everything is still good. So y'all good? Okay, put a 1 in the chat. Okay, cool. All right. Separately, Greenpeace reported that related recipient organization received over $5 million from the Koch family foundations between 1997 and 2015. Why are you telling me about Greenpeace? Oh. This figure is for the Heritage Foundation umbrella, illustrating broader Coke adjacent donor ecosystem, with Turning Point USA also drawing from. The Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation has something to do with this again. So separately, Greenpeace reported that a related recipient organization received over $5 million from the Koch family foundations between 1997 and 2015. Now, of course, 1997 means that this is before, or well before, Turning Point USA was even thought about. This figure is for the Heritage Foundation umbrella, and Turning Point USA is adjacent to the Heritage Foundation. Also, Turning Point USA has received funding from at least 4 different groups categorized as Koch funded, and has hosted events featuring other Koch saying Koch is crazy. Other Koch network adjacent speakers like Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, Dave Rubin. Yo, this is dark. Turning Point USA received funding from at least 4 different groups categorized as Koch funded, and has hosted events featuring other Koch network adjacent speakers. Ben Shapiro. So the Koch brothers are connected to Ben Shapiro. And you already know Ben Shapiro is connected to who? Bibi Netanyahu. IHOP. The IHOPians. So the Koch network, just to have y'all understand, Koch brothers are connected to the young boys, the family of the young boys that just got caught up in this death or murder of Nolan Wells. The usual freaking suspects. Oh my God. All right. So I'm going to keep going, but this is getting crazy. This is getting absolutely crazy.
The judge and also
So listen to this.
Willie D apparently found that the tip hotline to
Shout out to Poetic Flacco.
bring in Nolan Wells information was actually Ashley Cole's number, which is the judge, and also to the mother of Warren. The mother has an invested interest to obviously make sure that her son doesn't go to jail.
So now Warren is another one of the boys. So you got Warren, you got Bart, Fart. You got Warren, you got Fart, and you got some boy named Trace. And they all have been interviewed, or they all sat down with Officer Tatum. And the mother of Warren is the judge down there in Mississippi. So listen.
It can't be. A little further here, fam, because it's got to be a reasonable explanation for this, right? It has to be. I just dialed the number, and this is the same number that is listed. Okay, just to show you proof. This is Judge Ashley Cole, P.O. Box 99, Pascagoula 68. And the phone number I just dialed was 228-769-3036.
So this is the tip line. You know, whenever somebody was murdered, and they'll come out and say, hey, call this tip line if you have any information about this situation, because it could be a murder and it could not be. So call in and give me all of your tips. Well, the tip line allegedly is going directly to the phone number of the freaking judge in the damn county that shows you that they may be covering that shit up right here, because why would it go straight to the judge?
Pascagoula 68. And the phone number I just dialed was 228-769-3036. 36. That is Judge Ashley Cole's phone number. So how is that the tip line?
Think about this. This is the mother of one of the boys that is caught up in this shit, in this situation. The mother of Warren, the mother of one of the boys that were on the boat. The main suspect? No, it's not a suspect. The main person that was allegedly close to this young man, Nolan Wells. His mother is a judge. And his mother, because I keep saying his mother, because I want y'all to understand, the mother of the boy that is looking possibly to some people like a murder suspect. He's not, but he's speculated as a murder suspect. The mother of the boy is a judge, and she's taking the tips on her personal phone number.
Something has got to be off. Let me dig a little further here.
Yo, if this is true, this is one of the biggest fumbles and miscarriages of justice I've ever seen. And here's why.
Isn't that a conflict of interest? No, because it's not a case yet. Like, it's not a murder case. There's nothing yet. There's just speculation. That's why I keep saying the word speculation, because everything is speculation. So it's not a conflict of interest because she's not the presiding judge over this case. It's not a case. The only case that you could say that is a case is a defamation case, because people are saying Bart, which is another boy in this situation, and he's trying to sue people for defamation. So as of right now, that is the only case that has anything to do with this. So there's not a murder case. There's not a nothing case except for the defamation. So because there's no case, there's no conflict of interest. And most likely, she's not going to be the presiding judge over this if this was to turn into a murder case. So no, it's not a conflict of interest, not yet.
Can you imagine how many tips we have not heard yet?
Right.
If that's true?
Right.
If tips was coming into that tip hotline. Now, how the tips work, they call in, they leave a voice note, right? Or they call in and they speak to somebody. How easy would it be to just delete, sorry, voice note gone? Yo, imagine somebody calling in and leaving a tip. Hey, look, I seen Warren getting into a fight, but the fight was actually with Nolan. Imagine if that was one of the tips. So to give her access to a tip line where potential tips could be coming in, it's just, yo, who idea was this? That makes sense to y'all? Clearly not. After this development, bro, I don't trust the thing that comes from Ocean Springs. If it doesn't come from the independent investigation, I'm straight. I'm good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nolan Wells' alleged best friend just admitted that Nolan Wells was murdered. Watch this.
How would you think he would address this or feel about this?
Well, I know people like to use a term when they would turn over in his grave.
Listen.
If Nolan could dig himself out of his grave right now, he would.
What?
No doubt.
But it gets worse. Watch what happens next. None of these boys seem to even care that Nolan Wells is dead. They're so nonchalant. They don't give a damn.
Nolan would never want anything pursued this way. I think he would be really upset with his parents about how they went about the situation. I know he wouldn't support any of it. I think he would want the truth and he would search for answers. I think he would want the truth and he would search for answers.
I think he would want the truth and search for answers. Think about this. If Nolan Wells drowned and he came back to life, what answers would Nolan Wells be searching for? This young man just admitted that Nolan Wells was murdered. Because why would Nolan Wells come back to life and search for answers? Because he, which is Nolan Wells, would have known exactly how he died if he drowned, because he would have been drowning like, oh shit, I'm about to die. So what answers would he be looking for if he drowned? Got his ass. He just admitted that somebody, whoever that somebody is, murdered Nolan. Why would Nolan want to come back to life and look for answers if he just simply drowned? He was murdered. We got him.
and saying, yo, you're on the wrong path.
Listen to the wording, on the wrong path. Wouldn't he just come back to life and say, hey guys, my friends didn't murder me. I just drowned. This was my fault. So this guy is literally admitting that there was foul play because we're going down the wrong path. Going down the wrong path denotes wrongdoing, denotes I did not do this to myself, which is I got drunk or I was on cocaine and I drowned because I was high. Wrong path means somebody else did this to me.
But I promise, if you're talking about Ocean Springs as a whole, Ocean Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back. Ocean
Listen to this right here too. This is very important right here too.
Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back.
See, this young boy right here is so lost. He actually thinks he's white. He actually thinks he's one of the good old boys. They actually start thinking that they're one of them. They want to be white so bad where they actually think they're white. And I'm quite sure the same thing happened with the Brandon Tatum dude. So for those who don't know, Brandon Tatum said if his own child dies, he wouldn't cry because he has to be strong. You know how some men don't want to cry no matter what happens. And then when Charlie Kirk dies, this cornball starts crying on national TV.
This is a sickness.
For me, you suffer. I think you suffer in silence. That's what I think.
All the white man has to do is call up his pet monkey and he'll fly down to Mississippi and make all of the racial stuff just go away. Officer Tatum, he's literally harassing the mother of a dead son. At the same time, he's talking mess to us for harassing the wife of a dead husband. This same son of a bitch is running around telling us, leave Erica Kirk alone. She's a widow. Her husband died. Why do y'all keep talking about and making videos about this woman that actually lost her husband? And then this idiot goes to Mississippi and then make video after video after video of a woman's dead son. And now we're finding out why he's doing it. Because like I said, they called their pet monkey to go down here to make everything go away. And him being black is perfect because the person that died in this situation was black. So it all correlates with that. And I just want to go back to what I was saying on who sent this chimp out there, this fat insect out there, just to keep the correlation going. Turning Point USA has received funding from at least 4 groups categorized as Koch-funded, Koch brothers, Coke, not Coke as in cocaine, Koch brothers funded and hosted events featuring other Koch network adjacent speakers like Ben Shapiro. Much of Turning Point USA's budget in 2004, Turning Point USA's budget in that 2014 to 2018 window came from donors tied to the Koch donor network, including the Bradley Foundation and Donors Trust, which alone provided $2.3 million. So we talked about one Koch subsidiary, Koch brothers or Koch network subsidiary, 11 million. Then another subsidiary, 5 million. And then another Koch network subsidiary of 2.3 million. All right, to go even farther, as a 501c3, Turning Point USA is not legally required to disclose its donors. And founder Charlie Kirk has directly declined. Charlie Kirk. All right, listen to this. Founder Charlie Kirk has directly declined to disclose private giving amounts, citing donor anonymity requests. This is why most of the Koch funding figures come from tax filing, forensic work by outside researchers. And the outside researchers are CMD, DE Smog, and SourceWatch, not from Turning Point USA's own disclosures worth flagging in. Oh, okay. Let's see. More recent reporting. This is more recent. 2024 to 2025, having something to do with Project 2025, attributes over 7.7 million in Turning Point USA donations specifically to the Bradley Foundation. So now I need to do some work on finding out more information on the Bradley Foundation, a Coke adjacent donor. So the Bradley Foundation, to all of you mommy sleuths, as Candace Owens likes to say, let's see, the Bradley Foundation. Okay. So the Bradley Foundation, they are recently on record as adding $7.7 million to Turning Point USA's donations. Okay, let's talk about Brandon Tatum for a second. 2005 to 2010, he played football at the University of Arizona. Arizona is very important because Turning Point USA is in Arizona. Erica Kirk won Miss Arizona. So remember, Arizona is a nasty place. Now, to the people who live there, I'm not saying y'all are nasty, but there have been some very nasty doings in Arizona. Read Project 2025 like reading the future. Yes. So he played he played football, and then he became part of the Tuscan Police Department. Hold on one second, y'all.
This person told me that it's over 100% chance Nolan was using cocaine during this period of time. The toxicology comes back, Nolan will have cocaine in his system.
What the hell is the difference between making videos of a woman's dead husband and thinking the woman had something to do with it, and then you doing the videos about somebody's dead son? It's because of this. It's directly because of this. He's getting paid by people having to do with Turning Point USA, and they're adjacent in some type of way to the Koch brothers. And the Koch brothers has something to do with the boys on the boat. So we have Arizona, we have Turning Point USA, we have Erica Kirk that won Miss Arizona. You have this fat raccoon, Officer Tatum, who played football in Arizona and then started working at the Tucson, Arizona Police Department. And then if you go farther with this fat raccoon, he resigned from the police department in 2017. And then in 2018, he got hired at Turning Point USA as director of urban engagement at age 31. He stated mandate outreach. Okay. So his stated mandate was expanding Turning Point USA's outreach to Black communities. So he was Turning Point USA's token Black dude. Okay. Brandon Tatum was Turning Point USA's token Black dude, and his literal job was to go out and tell other Black people that Turning Point USA is a good thing. He worked for the urban outreach part of Turning Point USA. And then in 2018, to go even further, he worked alongside fellow Turning Point USA figures, Candace Owens, Rob Smith, on conservative outreach programming. Conservative outreach programming, keyword programming. He left the director of urban engagement role to find his own media company. So he started becoming this weirdo, as y'all know about on YouTube. And then he co-founded and ran the Blexit. And Blexit It means black exit. Just so y'all know. I'll say it again. Officer Tatum co-founded and ran the Blexit Foundation. And Blexit actually means black exit. Blexit means black exit. That is a fact. Because Candace said it. Black exit, meaning exiting blackness. Black exit. Exiting blackness. That's what it means. With Candace Owens during and after his Turning Point USA tenure. Present, he's now listed as a contributor, so he still works for or are adjacent to Turning Point USA now. Wait, a loser? It said a loser. Wait, hold on. Now listed as a contributor for Turning Point USA. A loser, non-employee affiliation. Why is this saying loser? A loser? This is, I don't know. Rather than staff director. Okay, now I said looser, not loser, looser. I just look at him as a loser. Looser. A looser non-employee affiliation. Okay. I seen loser because I think he's a loser. Rather than staff director. He also hosts, of course, the Tater Tot show. Okay. Let's see. Some more information. Let's see. Okay. Let's get back to this. One is a widow and one lost their son. Why is one better than the other? Because one is affiliated with a possible murder case, possible alleged murder case. And Tater Tot is sent down there as the pet monkey to fix all of this. Oh, I understand. One is white. Erica Kirk is white. So we can't say nothing about a white woman, but it's black woman that's even worse because she lost her son. You can harass her. You can make all types of videos making him, the son, look bad. He's on drugs. This man is a piece of dog shit. So the thing about this whole Brandon Tatum situation, because he's literally doing what we're doing to Erica Kirk. Literally. I'm calling out Erica Kirk. Candace Owens is calling out Erica Kirk. Baron Coleman, Jesse on Fire, all of us are calling out Erica Kirk. Not just because Erica Kirk is this widow and she's the husband of Charlie Kirk who died, and we think she is adjacent to the people that, unalive Charlie Kirk. Not saying that she did anything, but she's adjacent to somebody who unalived Charlie Kirk. But what her dealings are, or her dealings were, with her organization in Romania having to do with evangelical doings or dealings with orphans, right? That is the reason why we're calling out Erica Kirk. It's not just because of one thing. It's because of a myriad of things. There is also speculation that Erica Kirk, in some type of fashion, worked with Jeffrey Epstein. That's just speculation. So there's many reasons why we're talking about Erica Kirk and calling her out, because of the Epstein stuff, because of the Romanian angel stuff, and because Charlie Kirk was murdered. But when you look at this young boy, Nolan Wells, why is this man harassing his mother? She didn't do nothing. She wasn't in Romania with some damn orphans. She didn't take over Nolan Wells' company, and now she's the face of Nolan Wells, whatever he had going on. She's not out there playing football like Nolan Wells. Erica Kirk literally took his life, and not saying she unalived him. She took his identity. She is like now Charlie Kirk. She's like a dumber version of Charlie Kirk. So there's many reasons why we're calling out Erica Kirk, investigating Charlie Kirk, asking questions about Erica Kirk. But I always wondered why in the world is this black dude talking shit about a black family, and he's black, and he's not even from Mississippi. He's from, or, from Arizona. Why? He's on the West Coast. Why are you doing this? Because of Erica Kirk, because of Turning Point USA and their dealings with the Koch brothers. This is crazy. All right, so let's go even farther.
The Nolan Wells case is going before the grand. I'm going to give you 8 points.
So now let's talk about the Nolan Wells case for a second and where it is going and how things are being handled.
The Nolan Wells case is going before the grand jury. I'm going to give you 8 points as a former prosecutor, 30 years of experience. Homicide prosecutors present 1,000 cases before the grand jury about the inside baseball of what the grand jury does. First, let's understand what a grand jury is. It is a body of people. It's completely controlled by the prosecutor. There's no judges, there's no lawyers for the family there, and therefore the prosecutor can turn the spigot on and off as to what information that grand jury sees. Also, very importantly, this is a secret proceeding, and I mean secret. The judges cannot even get these transcripts to know what it is that the prosecutor did or they didn't do. Why is this important? Because there are 4 ways that the criminal justice process in Mississippi typically happens: investigation, arrest, initial appearance, and then presentation of the grand jury. But we're not doing any of that. So that says to me that they did not feel that they could file a complaint with probable cause to get an arrest and then follow the typical procedure to the grand jury. Rather, they're just going into the grand jury, that secret room where the prosecutor can ask the grand jurors to either indict a case or not to indict a case. And typically speaking, I will tell you from experience, having presented thousands of cases before grand juries, they typically do what it is that the prosecutor asks. In chart 2 here, you're going to see that you can do a number of different things when you go in to use a grand jury, and that's seek an indictment, that's investigate further to compel witness testimony and get documents, keep the investigation secret like we said, or to screen the case to see whether you're going to indict or if you're not going to indict. But the prosecutors already told us, and we'll have a clip where you can listen to this, that they already made a decision that they're going to go in to see whether or not anybody is going to be held responsible for this. That's an interesting telltale.
Make sure to hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. We got to get these likes up. Please hit the like button.
Tell bing, bing, bing. Well, wait, if somebody was interested, if somebody shot somebody on the street, are you telling me you wouldn't arrest the person and then present the case to the grand jury? So why was there not an arrest already made here? Does this telegraph to us that they don't think that anybody is responsible? I don't know the answer to that question, but I can tell you prosecutors know before they go into the grand jury what they want that grand jury to do, and 99.9% of the time the grand jury does exactly what the prosecutor asks.
Which means, according to what he's saying, and rewind it if you want to hear it again or get a better understanding of what he said, because he talked a little fast, is that there's a possibility that this is going to just be dead in the water, pun intended. Sorry, but pun intended.
So while the prosecutor's statement that every case in our county goes before a grand jury, yeah, that's true, because that's the only way you can get the case to the court in order to move it to trial. But that's usually last in the whole set of circumstances. You go to the grand jury at the end, not at the beginning. So while technically true, that statement was a little fuzzy to me. Why is this important? Why do they call this the prosecutor's playground? Because now the prosecutor can say, hey, I presented all the evidence to the grand jury, and the grand jury didn't indict, and therefore that's it, case closed. And no one can ever look at what evidence was presented or wasn't presented. That's why it's the prosecutor's playground. Guys, I got more inside tips. I'm gonna have a longer video on this elsewhere on my YouTube channel that you can check out later today. But I want to give you those very basic points, the power of the prosecutor and the grand jury.
All right, so I want to show you the longer video of the young lady that was talking earlier, because this right here is going to give you a little bit more in-depth understanding of the case with Nolan and not just the Turning Point USA part. So this is the longer video right here.
Evidence of a fourth vote. Not only have I found a lie in their timeline, but I have also discovered a deep political connection, not only to a former governor of Mississippi, but to Turning Point USA.
So this is a longer version of that video I played earlier. So make sure to watch this. Even if you watch the other one. This is a longer version.
So first off, this picture has surfaced in which it's clearly the group of boats a little bit further out in the water altogether. Now here's what is supposedly Bart's boat. We can see the Garmin on top, can confirm this black boat from this other picture. We can see Wyatt's Triton right here, and we can confirm that by the motor. As you can see right here, has that black stripe on the white motor. Now in between the two boats is the Palm Beach. You can clearly see it labeled, and it's got that stripe, right? As you can see, the stripe is there, and yet there's this design right here and no Palm Beach. And you may be like, Jay, that doesn't prove that it's a different boat. Maybe we just can't see it, even though it should be right there according to this picture. But if you look in this video, you can see that there is a black propeller right there. See black propeller, and you can very clearly see the Palm Beach right there on the side. And if you look really carefully in this photo, you can see right there a black propeller. There's another boat on the other side of these three boats.
Hold on real quick. Shout out to Adrienne. I said day one seeing Tatum at Turning Point USA, that Turning Point USA was involved. Aaron, they're going to turn this into a political racist fight because Tyler Robinson case was not doing good to Trump. I like that. I like where you're going. I like the way you think, Adrienne. I like that. That makes a lot of sense. So they're hijacking this situation. Oh my God, they're hijacking this. Oh shit.
And given the lack of the name on the boat and the black propeller, I'm going to assume the Palm Beach is on the other side, which means there's 4 boats right here. Then I rewatched Warren's interview.
And I woke up at my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. No one was out with me. And I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck. And, well, first I ran to my house, and I went to McDonald's and came back. And the boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy, Wyatt, and I went, and with my buddies, we went, filled the top of the boat off, loaded down with ice, and just got everything ready. And Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's 80-foot Palm Beach, and I drove the boat from Fort Bayou boat launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and that's where we all planned to meet up that day.
I drove the boat from my buddy's grandparents' house.
So Wyatt had his buddy's boat already hooked up to the back of his truck. He said he and Wyatt and his other buddy went and got ice and filled up the boats. And Wyatt went and put the Palm Beach, his smaller boat, into the water. And we know there was a second boat, the Triton, that was driven by Wyatt. Wyatt had 2 boats in the water. Who was driving his other boat?
Nolan was on Wyatt Pyron's 22 Triton. On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down, and I called Bart that morning. I was like, "Hey man, can you take your boat out?" And he was like, "Yeah, well, my dad's decided not to go, and I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends." Of course, I mean, he's a buddy of mine.
So Bart was not planning to go in the way that they wanted him to go. This was somewhat of a favor. Fart. I'm sorry. So Fart was about to go with his dad. And this is another indication that this 4th of July Horn Island situation is not just for kids. Adults are out there. Adults go out there on a normal basis, not just kids. And when this young man, Nolan Wells, died, it was adults out there. Adults, because Fart's father was supposed to go out there also.
And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was probably ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people.
Now, wait a minute. So Warren already had a boat hooked up when he woke up that morning. I'm assuming that had to be the Triton that was hooked up, right? Then he said that Wyatt went and put his smaller boat, the Palm Beach, into the water. Then Warren said that he was the one who drove the Palm Beach to their friend's dock. Assuming that Wyatt drove the Triton to the dock and Bart drove his own boat to that dock, who drove the Palm Beach out to the water then? Because he said that he got a ride in with Bart, even though at one point during the interview he said all of his stuff was on the Palm Beach. So it sounds to me like Warren was the one driving the Palm Beach. I'm also like, what parent would let their kid, who's obviously going off to party, take 2 of their boats and let their drunk friends drive? Like, it just,
because he was out there with them.
It isn't making sense to me. I mean, maybe these parents are just shitty parents and irresponsible. Then
No, there's parents out there. There's married, grown-ass people out there. Everybody's out there, not just kids.
Also said that he contacted Bart that morning to see if he could come. And Bart was like, yeah, I can give all your friends a ride, blah, blah, blah. According to him, there were 10-ish people, 15.
Because Bart or Fart was planning on going out to Horn Island with his dad, and his dad canceled on him. So now he's just like, all right, I'll go. because he was going to go out there with his dad, which says that adults plan to go out there on 4th of July, which means it's an adult thing. And along with, it's not just a bunch of kids.
People on that boat. So where were those people originally supposed to ride in on? They'd been planning it for weeks. They were excited about it. Why did Bart have to suddenly step in and take all these people? And remember, Bart said that his dad had canceled going out on the boat that day, so he could do it. Something's not adding up here. I think there was an adult somewhere in this mix. So it would also explain
a bunch of adults.
How they all thought quickly on their feet with the sea tow. I wouldn't be surprised if an adult didn't come out there and just
look at all those boats. You don't think it's not adults out there on that big ass boat?
Go off with other adults that were also on Horn Island and let the kids hang out with the boats. Here's where things are going to get interesting, folks. There are more GPS coordinates in the report than what we have seen publicly. I'm going to play you a clip from the interview, but remember, at 5:30 is when they started picking up regular speed, all right? It's right here, 525, speed miles, 30 to 35 knots. So
hold on.
Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. What? Everybody hit the like button.
Here we go.
Planed off and you have water in the boat and you're hauling, we're going pretty fast. We're going probably 40, 42 miles an hour. And so all that excess water that was built up in the boat is coming out of the boat. So, that's what we had to do. So we ran into Fort Bayou. And we didn't just run straight to my buddy's grandparents' house. We ran into Fort Bayou. A couple of us jumped in the water, and Wyatt, the whole reason for the stop was so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug back in the boat. So then after that, we went and docked it, and I went back to my buddy's house, and we ate and napped for a little bit. It was a long day at the house.
Now you heard him. He said that they took off going 40 miles an hour, and they didn't go to his buddy's grandparents' house, but they went to Fort Bayou to go do a plug thing. Except right here, 5:44, vessel arrives at El Camino Road. 8 minutes later, then it departs from El Camino Road and headed east into Fort Bayou. So right there we have a lie. The boat did stop before going into Fort Bayou. 6 minutes later, it comes back to El Camino Road, and the vessel departed El Camino Road half an hour later, headed southwest to St. Martin Bayou, and then turned southeast into Biloxi Bay Bridge. Then they went back to the Bayou Boat Launch. Then the boat was taken to Cardinal Lane, which was Wyatt's residence. Now, because I am an absolute genius, I was able to find it. This was where they left and where they came back that day, and then came back several times. Now, first off, why aren't we seeing footage of them returning that day? We know that Nolan was with them when they left, so why do they have the security cams from that morning, but not that night? Whose grandparents live there? Jax Patalo, whose family owns a pharmacy. It goes back deeper than that because George Patalo Sr., which is Jax's great-grandfather who is deceased, as it turns out, his great-grandfather was appointed and served on the staff of Mississippi Governor Cliff Finch. As you can see, I've confirmed Jax's relation to him. And as it turns out, Cliff Finch, well, he was in the Mississippi House of Representatives from 1960 to 1964 and supported racial segregation and backed the racist governor, to preserve segregation in the state. The federal grand jury conducted a 3-year-long investigation into his administration and several state agencies, and they were all accused of corruption and mismanagement. Finch was never found guilty himself, but some of his aides and appointees were indicted. And those sort of political connections seem to trickle down through the generations. So now we know why the governor got involved. And I started looking into the lawyer that's handling the defamation case from the Bart.
All right, so here we go. For the people who are not in the live stream earlier, pay attention to this. The lawyer that is part of Fart's defamation case is the person that connects all of this to Turning Point USA. Listen.
Bart family. So from 2015 to 2018, he was state director of Americans for Prosperity. Then in 2018 to 2020, he was vice president of Stand Together while being vice president of Americans for Prosperity. Stand Together is a Charles Koch nonprofit, and Americans for Prosperity is a libertarian conservative political advocacy group affiliated with Charles Koch and David Koch. And if you don't know who the Koch brothers are, they're fucking evil. Guess who's one of the major funders for Turning Point USA? Major donors for the Koch brothers also are primary financial pillars for Turning Point USA, specifically their campus operations. And guess who used to serve as the director of urban engagement?
The tater tot dude. You ever heard of the gingerbread man, right? This is the tater tot man. Brandon Tatum was sent down there to Mississippi to help clean up this mess. Why? Because the kids of the adults are subtly or adjacently connected to the Koch brothers, and the Koch brothers are huge contributors to Turning Point USA. So Turning Point USA sent their monkey down there to go down there to fix everything and to make everything non-racial and like, oh my God, y'all are crazy. This is not racial. This is there's a black boy over there. Look, there's another black boy. What do you mean? These white boys didn't do anything to Nolan Wells? They sent this black dude out there, their token asset, to go down here and try to make it look like nothing happened. Now, as of right now, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. So I'm not saying Fart or any of these other boys did anything to anybody. But what I am saying, this looks like a cover up. So the first thing I'm going to say is, what are they covering up? Because this man, like I said earlier, is literally attacking the mother of her dead son the same way we are attacking, harassing, calling out, or whatever you want to call it, Erica Kirk. But the thing about it is, there's a lot of dirt on Erica Kirk, which I said earlier, she has some type of weird connections to Jeffrey Epstein. We have documented proof or evidence, or whatever you want to call it, that Erica Kirk was spending time at the Fountain Blue in, I forgot, France. I forgot what the country was, but it was the same time and same date that Jeffrey Epstein was spending time at the Fountain Blue. And she even had, you know how women would take a picture of themselves or a video of themselves inside of a hotel room? We found out that that's the same hotel room, not the same room, but the same type of hotel room that Jeffrey Epstein was staying at that same Fountain Blue hotel in France or wherever they were. Which means Erica Kirk was spending time in the same country and the same hotel as Jeffrey Epstein at the same exact time. And Jeffrey Epstein literally said that he would spend time out there. He would have like sit down for tea and all this other stuff and have meetings and everything. And next thing you know, of course, Erica Kirk not only has something to do with models, and we all talked about how Trump and Epstein had a lot to do with models. Even Donald Trump's own wife, Melania Trump, was a model and possibly was traffic lighted by certain people. And then you got the Paolo Zampoli person that introduced Donald Trump into modeling. So Erica Kirk, who was picked by Donald Trump in Arizona to be a model that won a modeling thing where she won Miss Arizona, and then she went from being a model to a real estate agent in New York, and New York has something to do with the actual company that she was working with, which is Next Model Management, was a subsidiary of the brother of Jeffrey Epstein, where they would get a whole bunch of women from other countries, bring them to New York, pack them into this one little, area, an apartment complex, little apartment building, and then have models in all these different apartment buildings. She was the facilitator, allegedly, of all of that. Well, she was in real estate, and she was the real estate person doing something, but she never sold into real estate, along with the Romanian angel stuff. So there's a reason why we all have been talking about Erica Kirk. I just broke down a piece of all of this stuff just now, just like that. That's simple. And I didn't even talk about the Romanian angel stuff then. So there's a reason for us to talk about this Romanian angel stuff. I mean, it's Erica Kirk stuff. But there is no dirt on Nolan Wells' son. There's no dirt on Nolan Wells' mother. So this fat idiot is down here talking shit about a woman that lost her son, just like we're talking about a woman that lost her husband, Erica Kirk. Why? Because the son's death is connected to Erica Kirk. Not saying Erica Kirk did anything, but it's connected to Turning Point USA. That's the reason why this stupid son of a bitch is down there. He's down there helping shit get covered up. So I got another video.
Trump and the Wells family have announced Ben Crump and the Wells family have announced that they have hired an oceanic engineer expert to examine the circumstances surrounding where Nolan's body was found. The main question that they are trying to find out.
Yes, Malachi, yes. This is some type of organized crime syndicate, political, evangelistic shit.
Is how did Nolan end up in the same location that the boat was last known to be 2 days later after extensive search efforts?
Have consulted President Barrier with oceanic engineering experts to talk about how these facts are lining up. The fact that they say Nolan's body was found in the same location where they say they left him at. And so we want to know, how is that possible with the oceanic tides? We want the
people in the black community.
So speaking of oceanic tides, I want to show you guys this real quick. And we're going to go back to that. Wait, this ain't the video? Oh, shit. This is not the video. Hold on. He said something about oceanic tides. I want to show y'all. Where's the video? I got it.
I know that friend group that.
Okay, so here it is right here. It's right here.
To the CETO operator. And I'm just
So now we're talking about why was Nolan Wells' body found where it was and it didn't move.
I listened to the call to the CETO operator, and I listened to the whole call. And a couple things stood out to me. First, location they are at. I put those coordinates in Google Earth. I wanted to see myself. I said, where's these coordinates? So I punched it in Google Earth. It's about 700 feet north of the northwest tip of Horn Island.
So listen to what he's about to say right here. Nobody's talking about this.
And northwest tip of Horn Island is where Nolan's body was found. The northwest part of the island is also the roughest current. Like the roughest rip current happens right there on the northwest side of Horn Island.
He was possibly drugged or something. They seen him passing out. They are looking around like, what do we do? Somebody turns around and says, take this right and go over here because the rip tides are stronger here and we could just push him off the boat. He's just going to end up somewhere else, which would be so far away from us where nobody would say he fell out the boat right here. Because if the rip tides pulls him all the way over there, then they can turn around and say, well, he never got on the boat because his body was found over there.
What stood out to me the most was after the CETO operator finishes talking to the guy on the boat, she switches over to the CETO captain. Hey, I got a guy here who needs your help. He's like, oh, dude, I just talked to that guy's grandpa. And he said, they don't need help. So literally,
they don't need help.
60 seconds before that, the kid was saying, hey, we need help. We're sinking. We're taking on water. We need help. Simultaneous, the guy's grandpa's on the phone with the captain saying, they don't need help. Cut that, cut that. Why? That doesn't logically line up.
It gets worse.
MDMR released data from the boat's GPS. It shows that it ended up getting towed for like 300 meters or something. I can't remember.
So the boat did get towed. So if you need a tow, but your grandpa turns around and says they don't need a tow, he allegedly sent another boat out there to tow the boat instead of the authorities towing the boat.
It got towed, and then its engine started back up, and it finished going back to the mainland on its own power. So somebody did tow it, but it wasn't CETO because the grandpa called CETO off. So why would grandpa call CETO off? Who came and towed the boat? These are questions that have to be answered that, in my opinion, are ever so important. And then the kids that were on the boat, this guy Warren, who voluntarily joined the show with Officer Tatum to talk about it, his entire interview is deceptive and red flag, full of red flags.
I need every last one of you to comment below. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you actually think Nolan Wells was the only one out there doing drugs and nobody else? And on top of that, let me know, do you think this is a homicide or is everybody overreacting and somebody just fell off the boat? Okay, so now let's go back to what they were talking about with the oceanic waves, now that you have that information.
The same location where they where they left them at. And so we want to know, how is that possible?
So now that y'all have an understanding about the riptides and all of that, you'll understand this a little bit better.
With the oceanic tides, we want the experts. I mean, you got low tides and high tides.
Yeah, low tides and high tides. Like, why and how did his body show up where it did if we have all these oceanic tides?
Not adding up, so we are going to dot every I and cross every T until we find out what happened to Nolan Wells.
All right, we need about 200 more likes. So make sure to hit the like button. To the people who have not hit the like button already, make sure to hit the like button. We need about 200 likes. And thank you guys for hitting the like button. To the people who have hit the like button, and also hit the hype button.
Now, one detail that stood out to me is one of the first initial press conferences that they did. And Nolan's father, Elmore, talks about how the following morning he went out to look for his son, and he went in those exact areas. And he did not find Nolan.
We docked the boat, got off the boat, walked on the island, walked a pretty nice stretch, came back, got back on the boat, went around the island, looked, came back around, and where we went to, that's where apparently they say that his body floated up. I don't know a lot about water currents over there, but I would think that we would have saw his body.
He also talked about how there were people on the island. There was a family on the island camping, and they didn't see anything. They didn't see Nolan.
There was a family that,
of course, they didn't see anything. They all are staying on code.
Stayed the night on the island, like actually tented out on the island. So if he was left, he would have saw that family on the island, and there was 2 other boats docked, so he would have had help.
And then he talks about how he saw the sheriff and the Coast Guard.
I think we stayed there for like an hour and a half. That's when Jackson County and the sheriff department showed up, and they were going to do their rounds. And I had a classmate of mine, him and his 2 boys, they came out and they searched, and then they got back in touch with me and said the Coast Guard had finally showed up in airplanes. So,
and they were searching as well in that same exact spot.
He went missing on July 4th, as they say. His body should have been there on July 5th. Why would it not appear to July 6th? And that's one of those things that's just not adding up. If he stayed behind on the island, there were boats there. There were people. Somebody had to see something.
And that's why they're getting an expert, an oceanic engineer expert, to see, is that possible with all the currents and everything, that he would just pop up, 2 days later in the same exact spot, face down? Let's get some experts on it, right? Well, that's what they're doing. There's been a lot of people that are familiar with the island chiming in before this and saying that there's always risk of the current, especially towards the very tip of the island. It can really rip fast through there. So if it's ripping fast through there, how is his body ending up in the same exact spot?
Right.
After 2 days of searching. And again, the Jackson County Sheriff, Sunday, July 5th, was looking all over for the body as well. And it did not pop up in that same spot that they were looking for it. This island is not that big. So 2 days of searching the same exact spot, and then he comes up face down. Again, so many questions, but I'm glad that they have an expert on it, because maybe we will find some more answers, because we're not getting any from the officials.
Let me tell y'all something about the experts. Just like in the Turning Point USA situation with Charlie Kirk and him dying, and nobody seems to know what the hell happened, even though it was 3,000 people there with cell phones. Everybody in Utah stayed on code when Charlie Kirk died, because they're a cult-like Mormon city. Orem, Utah. The same thing is going on with these Ocean Springs people. When you have these small towns like Mississippi or Utah, everybody stays on code and nobody says anything. And I want to give y'all some information on a coroner situation also. There's a video that I have, I think that's probably going to come up next, that's going to talk about coroner offices. So I got in my notes, the key part of all of these murder cases is the coroner's office. See, what is the best way to cover up a murder? It's not doing this or doing that. It's not anything that you do if you murder somebody. Is paying the coroner to say the death was accidental. Paying the coroner to say the death was health related. Paying the coroner, paying the medical examiner to say something else on the death certificate. Paying the coroner, paying the medical examiner to lie on the death certificate. That is how you cover up a murder. It's not all of this crazy stuff that you see on TV. No. All you got to do is get the coroner and the medical examiner to be on the same page and to type up the right thing and say it was accidental. You're done. Because it never gets anywhere after that. You ain't gonna do all this crazy shit. Oh, take the body and put it over here. No, you could just knock the person off in front of everybody. You know, as long as they don't see you doing it. Person, just like with Charlie Kirk, nobody knows what happened. He like, and they're like, damn, what was this? What was that? All we need, or they need to do, is to pay the coroner's office and a medical examiner, and then there's no problems. That's why nobody went to jail. That's why nobody's going to go to jail, because of the medical examiner and the coroner's office.
Also, quick update, the autopsy results for Nolan Wells is now complete. But as the district attorney said a couple weeks ago,
they took his throat and they took his lungs. Put a one in the chat if you heard that they took the boy's throat and they took the boy's lungs. And 4 days later, when the parents actually seen the son, he didn't have a throat and he didn't have any lungs. What the hell? So the two major things that they need to know is what? Was it water in the lungs? They don't have any lungs because they took them. The coroner's office. They have jurisdiction over the body. All you got to do is pay them, and then you can get off. You can unalive anybody you want. You got enough pull with the coroner's office and the medical examiner. Nothing's ever going to happen to you if you deal with those two people.
it will be sealed till it is sent to the grand jury. So we still have to wait on this original autopsy. But that is also going to answer a lot of questions. Hopefully we can get the truth.
Remember with Charlie Kirk, they said the bullet, which it wasn't a bullet, it was bullet fractures. It wasn't bullet fractures. Fragments. I mean, it wasn't bullet fragments. No, the coroner's office just wrote bullet fragments because Turning Point USA or whoever wanted them to say that shit. Well, no damn bullet fragments. He wasn't shot with a bullet. But the coroner's office wrote bullet fragments. And because the coroner's office wrote bullet fragments, it has to mean that somebody shot him, even though nobody shot him. He had a Superman neck. All that shit is coroner's office shit. It's medical examiner shit.
Because
yeah, your organs that are important to the case, to solving the case, just mysteriously get thrown in the trash. Can you imagine somebody throwing your lungs in the trash? Like, what are we doing here?
this case is all over the place. So the biggest question here is, how was Nolan not found after multiple search efforts? His father the following morning, we have the sheriffs, we have the Coast Guard, We have the Cajun Navy. Yet 2 days after the incident, he was recovered face down in the same location the boat was known to be. Huge question here. Hopefully, that ocean expert can answer some of that.
They're paying Americans to spread propaganda in the United States, specifically about the Charlie Kirk case?
Ukraine is paying them.
Why would they get involved in the Charlie Kirk story? Now I'm legit confused.
What I don't know is what they are covering for Israel when Israeli propagandists go out there attacking people. And what I don't know is why they are attacking people who question Charlie Kirk's assassination.
But you know for a fact they are.
For a fact.
I mean, the ties between Ukraine and Israel are subtle. I think both governments have gone out of their way to downplay their connection. Pretty clear they're very closely connected. And Charlie Kirk, I could never explain why that doesn't shock me, but if I'm being honest, it really doesn't. This is much bigger than Charlie Kirk's murder,
100%.
than Russia's special military operation, invasion of Ukraine, whatever, war in Iran. I mean, it's all of a piece. It's the same people.
Same people.
The reason why we have not gotten a toxicology report or an autopsy is because there's nobody to do it. Everything about the infrastructure of how things like autopsies work in the state of Mississippi. There are 2 people that can do that autopsy because there are only 2 board certified forensic pathologists that are in the chief medical examiner's office for the entire state.
The entire state. There are millions of people in Mississippi, and there's only 2 people that are in charge of somebody's body after they die. Really? That's what we're doing? See, y'all thought I was playing. The way to get away with a murder is the coroner's office and the medical examiner. Deal with that, nobody goes to jail.
Mississippi has a population of almost 3 million people.
3 million.
It is a well-known and well-documented fact that Mississippi has the worst autopsy backlog of anywhere in the United States of America. Because there is nobody to do the autopsies, because there's no money to do the autopsies.
I would say this. If you're ever looking to move into a small town, or a small city to say, I want to move away to here or whatever. I want to go to Mississippi. I want to go to Utah. I want to move to Oregon or whatever, right? Find out, and if you're black, if you're black in particular, you might want to do some research on how many medical examiners are in the city. Because this is what's crazy. The medical examiner that said all of that stupid shit about Charlie Kirk turned out to be a lesbian, conservative, evangelist lady. She literally acts like she would work for Turning Point USA if they gave her a job. She's just like the stupid people on Turning Point USA's board now. And she was the coroner. It's a white lady. She's a lesbian white lady. And she's a lesbian. So they're talking about gay leftists did A, B, and C, and she's
because it is a choice by the state of Mississippi to not have funding to get more forensic pathologists to clear this backlog because the people that are dying are black. That's what it is. But because of our narrow...
Oh, yeah. She's a furry. Thank you for reminding me about that. The damn pathologist in the Charlie Kirk case is a damn furry. So the same damn type of person that they're saying unalive Charlie Kirk is a person that dealt with his freaking body. This shit is crazy. Shit is crazy. See, the things that people demonize are usually what the people are. If you see a dude that's like, gay people, gay, you gay people, gay, and just always talk shit about gay people, most likely he's gay. Turning Point USA, they was running around like, oh my God, he was killed by a gay furry. Well, it's because they at Turning Point USA are gay. Remember, I was supposed to do a show today about how many people in Turning Point USA that are gay. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all remember that. I need to do some more research because there's so much gayness going on where I needed more time. So I'm still going to do the video. I just need more time. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember me saying that I was going to do a live stream about exposing how many people in Turning Point USA are gay and how they run around having all these gay parties, grinder parties and shit. Put a 1 in the chat. Remember me saying that. So the thing about it is, when they run around and shit on a demographic, most likely whoever that person is, whether it's a normal person, Turning Point USA, the person that they speak against the most is the person. I speak out against single motherhood. Why? Because I was raised by a single mother. I was raised by a single mother. That's the reason why I speak out on single motherhood, because I was raised by a single mother. The thing that you despise the most, the things that you speak out against the most likely is what you either are living or what traumatized you. Always remember that.
Definition of racism, right? It's plausible deniability. The state of Mississippi is going to keep saying it's like, we are not obstructing anything, and technically they are right. But the reason why it's taking so long, they don't have to obstruct anything when it's not going to happen, because there is a backlog of thousands of autopsies that need to be done and completed by the medical examiner's office. And there's nobody to do it. Every single one of those states has the worst outcomes of anywhere in the country because it is an intentional choice not to fund things that would benefit Black people.
This is now my 3rd time making this video because they keep taking it down because they don't want you to see what I have found. Katie has dry snitched, y'all. Here we see Katie's Snapchat where she's wearing a teal swimsuit and she's with a girl in a blue and white striped swimsuit.
Everybody hit the like button. 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 Some of y'all have not hit the like button yet. Hit the like button.
On this video of the 3 boats, you're going to see a girl in a blue and white striped swimsuit right here on Bart's boat. And right next to her with the same long wet hair is a girl in a teal swimsuit on Bart's boat. Make sure you have your brightness turned all the way up because here we have Katie in a teal swimsuit and look at her head. She is wearing a white hat. Oh, look, the video of the boat getting towed. Teal swimsuit, white hat. And
which means Katie was on all of the boats that they were saying that Katie was not on. Remember, they said Katie went on the island with Nolan Wells. No, Katie was on the boat with everybody else. So everybody was on the boat except for Nolan Wells. So he didn't start finding Katie attractive and say, hey, let's go off the boat and let's go on the island. Let's go behind the tree and do it. And nope. Katie was on the boat through the whole time.
That's not all, folks. Again, turn your brightness all the way up because right here, we've got somebody wearing red trunks. Oh, and look what we have here. Red trunks. And here's those same red trunks on the shore right after the fight with Tristan. Katie is claiming that she allegedly caught a ride home with somebody named Marty McGrath. It just so happens that a Marty McGrath is the co-owner of the Biloxi Bay RV Resort and Marina in St. Martin. Here it is, and my, that is a massive dock way out in the water. And would you look at that? It's right next to the grandparents' house. Now, in that report with the GPS coordinates, didn't they say that they went southwest towards St. Martin Bayou? Yeah, that's right, it did. And it also took them 45 minutes to get to that boat ramp over there. That only takes about 6 minutes on land. Like I said, they are trying to take down my page. Make sure you are following my backup here. But Katie, I want to say one thing to you. You're young, and I know you don't realize this yet, but these are not your friends. Be a hero. Do what's right.
That is a fact. That is a fact. They are not your damn friends at all. What's the other video? I just want to start. I just want to say this. This woman right here, make sure to follow her. Follow this woman right here. Follow this woman right here. This is her Instagram page. Follow this woman right here. She is amazing. She is dope. And go in her comments and say Mr. Let Go sent me. She is amazing. There's another video I want to share with you before we go, because I think it's this one. It's this one.
18-year-old student athlete by the name of Nolan Wells went out on a boat trip with his friends to celebrate the 4th of July. He went missing. He was the only one out of his friends.
Oh, you know about that already. This is not it. Hold on, y'all. There's another video I want to show you guys. It's this one.
Nolan Wells deniers. Why do you think that his friends told the cops that they didn't know the girl that he went with? Weird how in Warren's little interview he fails to mention that he spoke with the deputies, and several friends claimed they didn't know the girl he left with.
And in the previous video, I showed you that he didn't leave with the girl. All right, so I want to show you this. Wait, here it is right here.
You guys don't understand, the cover-up is coming from the adults that were present, and all of these adults are related and interconnected. I mean, fuck. Trayston knows exactly who's in the Dr. Detail shirt. A lot of people that were there that day are family within the community. And what happened on the boat did not take place on the motherfucking Triton. That's why everyone is now saying, oh my God, I was on the Triton.
Sorry for her cursing. Sorry.
Nolan was never on the Triton. You're right, because Nolan was on you know whose boat when it happened to him, when his leg was hanging over the side.
Fart's boat.
There's a young lady on here who is claiming she witnessed the altercation on the day of July 4th with Nolan Wells, and it is a completely different story, and it's alleged because I want you guys to see this video, but it's very spooky to me. 5 days ago, she posted this stating that she will only speak to what she observed and what she knows to be true. She then goes on to make a statement saying what she saw the day of the 4th with Nolan and other individuals. Quote unquote, she says, allegedly, while I was on a boat near the area, I witnessed an altercation involving Nolan Wells and several other individuals. I saw what appeared to be an argument that escalated after there was a dispute involving Nolan's phone. I heard Nolan yelling for his phone to be returned. The argument continued after the group reached shore, and I observed a physical fight involving Nolan and multiple people. I also observed a young woman telling them to stop. She then said she left the area because it appeared to get really bad or worse. After that, people called her a liar, saying she was making it up. So then she posted this screenshot of something that was sent from her Instagram to Eric, aka Jax, who was also involved on July 7th. She sent it. It's right there. This one is very eerie. It says, hey, I just want to say I was a passenger on another boat and saw the argument between you guys and will go to the police with this information. I also have video footage my husband and I have taken. It doesn't show much, but shows the argument that was taken and how you guys were upset at Nolan because of the young lady. You're a monster, and I promise you will have your day. You will be under the jail. Today is the 7th of July. Mark my words, you will be put away forever for a very long time. Also states after she reached out, Jack blocked her. It's where someone saying, I saw where another boy said it was himself and not Nolan. Are you sure it was Nolan? She says, I'm more than certain it was Nolan because we followed their boat for a little while. Not only do Tracy and Warren not admit who Wyatt and Tracy himself got into an altercation with, they all say someone else, but it would make sense as to why they would lie and say it was actually Tracy yelling for his phone. I don't think this young lady is telling a lie, and I allegedly believe her post.
All the pathologists that conducted the autopsy did not
him up. Mobley, are you a medical?
So right here, I talked about how everybody in this situation is weird. And some of y'all seen this because I did a video about it also. But the way this guy is acting scares the living shit out of me. He just keeps smiling like this. And I said earlier, it reminds me of this.
Oh, no, 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 no,
do something.
It looks just like that. And let me know if you agree in the comments.
Doctor. Yes.
Just look at him.
No.
I know how to examine forensic evidence based on the countless homicides that I've
Listening,
tried.
not hearing. Yeah.
Look at him smiling. And y'all gotta remember, she's extremely adamant because she's trying to solve a death. And this man keeps smiling like some weirdo. These people are demonic, possessed even.
Yes, no.
Look at this shit.
You're not a medical doctor.
I'm a juris doctor.
Are you a medical examiner?
He does it again. Now he's laughing. He's like, now remember, they took this boy's lungs and they took his throat out of his body in order to possibly hide the fact or the speculation, because I don't want to get sued, of the fact that there may not have been any water in his lungs, which means he was murdered and he didn't just drown. They removed the extremely important parts of his body so nobody would know how he died. And he's sitting here laughing at this shit. They kept his body away from his own parents for 4 days until they removed his throat. They showed his parents his body after certain parts of his body was removed.
I am
No. In what world? In what world would the first medical examiner remove Nolan's throat if it did not have something probative about it, something that proves something? Did they remove his toe? No. His elbow? No. His eyeball? His nose? No. They took his throat. Do not tell me that a medical doctor, which you are not, took a throat out of this young man because it means nothing. And then, you know what? I can't even hear you. Straight out to Joe Scott Morgan joining us.
And he started smiling again.
As professor of forensics, death investigator. That second doctor did.
Before Wyatt calls Cito, according to Warren, they had.
All right, so I don't want to go into this. I don't want to go into this either. She went freaking crazy talking about this. But you know what? No, I do want to play it. I want to play a little bit of it because I want to bring this whole thing back to this raccoon guy.
Panning to show Warren on the Palm Beach and then showing the tagline, which places Nolan there, which leads me to my hypothesis that something happened when they were attempting to hook the boats up.
Maybe it's just me, but I've never wanted to interact or date or marry a person who wants to make fun of my culture or try to pick at certain aspects of my culture. I don't know. I actually love myself, so why would I?
She went crazy, so I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'm going to play this first part.
I want to be with somebody who want to joke on those type of topics. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I heard that thing.
We make jokes about black people.
I've been married to a white woman
about...
long enough with that I hear the smoke detectors now.
I'm like, don't you hear that, Brandon?
It's funny. Let me tell you that.
How exhausting, and this could just, everyone's different, that's fine. But how exhausting to be in like a relationship where you can't joke about each other's cultures? Like if I was married to an Indian or Mexican, like, you know what I mean? My sister-in-law is Mexican and we make jokes about each other's cultures. Like this, like living in a Fabergé egg, you know what I mean? Like living in, just being so fragile where nothing is.
What is funny about joking about black people? What is funny about joking about Hispanics?
So I'm going to stop right there because she goes so crazy. So I don't want to say anything else. Quick commercial break.
This just in, a new way of healing is sweeping the country, and it's a card game called Like Mother, Like Daughter. This game is powerful.
My favorite question was, if you could parent me all over again, what would you change? This card game has a mother deck and a daughter deck, so we both have questions for each other.
These are some good questions.
Do you think I'm a people pleaser? If so, where did I get this trait from?
This card game actually helped my marriage, and the questions showed me that I still had unresolved issues with my mom, and I was taking them out on my husband.
If you don't do anything else, buy this card game. You won't regret it. Click the link below.
Like mother, like daughter, we are the same. You'll see when we
And I see what y'all are saying in the comments. I said they threw his lungs in the trash. Of course, they didn't throw his lungs in the trash. Of course, his lungs are going out for testing. Of course, his throat is going out for testing. Of course, his lungs and his throat is not in the dumpster somewhere. Of course, they're testing it. Yes, of course. And if you believe that, I have a boat and a bridge I would like to sell you in Alaska. With all that being said, I will talk to you guys later, and make sure to put a reminder in your phones for 12 o'clock Mondays and Wednesdays. So go to your phones right now and set a calendar reminder every Monday at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, and every Wednesday, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. That is when I'm going live Mondays and Wednesdays. And I'm going to go do another live and do more videos along with that. But I want it to be more on a schedule so people can know exactly when I'm going live on what day. So I won't just randomly go on live. You're like, oh, I missed a live. You can't miss a live now because you know when I go live. Mondays and Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So go on your phones right now. You're doing it? Go on your phones right now and type Mr. Let Go Show Monday at 12 and then Wednesday at 12. And I'm going to go live at 12:15. So to give you 15 minutes to get yourself ready to sit down and get ready to watch the show. All right. Set your reminders and I am out. What's up, Mimi? Talk to y'all later.